Hello! So in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to do game 4 from PrepTest 74. Okay. PrepTest 74, game 4. Okay, so this is a grouping game. Alright, and so we're going to be grouping the players. We have two main groups and then we're going to have an out group as well. Excuse me. So this isn't a typical in and out game where we have one of two groups that we're placing the players into. There's also the possibility that a player is going to be out, and the game's really explicit about this. It says not all have to be assigned, speaking about the players there. So we have 6 players, F, G, H, K, L, and M are players, and then our two main groups are S and T, and then we also have the possibility that players are out. We can't assign players to both of these groups, right? So if they're either in S or T. Okay, and we have a minimum of 2 players per group here. Okay, so that's minimum of 2. That applies to both of these. Okay, so the first is that F and H must be assigned together to one of the ceremonies. Okay, so F and H will not be out, they'll be in, and they're either going to be in S or T. So this is a stage where you might want to split. I'm not going to, but that's always a possibility. All right, then we get into the conditional rules, and the rest of the rules are conditional. If L and M are both assigned, okay, then they're going to be assigned to different ceremonies. Okay, so if L and M are in, then L and M are not together. That's probably what I would do with it. It makes sense to me. I can understand how it could potentially be confusing. And then there's also, you know, if L and M are together, then either L is out or M is out. That's also really confusing. I can understand that. But that's one of the tricky things about when you have kind of a grouping game where you have 3 groups, but there's also sort of this sense of it's like an in and out game. So I'm treating it kind of like an in and out game, but I'm also recognizing that some of these rules have to do more with them being matched up or paired up. So that's how I would write out this rule. What you could do if you wanted to get really detailed with it, and I wouldn't recommend this just for the sake of time, but essentially what's happening here for the sake of explanation is if L and M are in, then L is with S, M is with T, or L is with T, M is with S. Okay, and then we wouldn't really have much of a contrapositive here. We would just have if L is with S, then M is T or out, right? If M is with S, then L is with T or out. LT means MS or out. We could keep going like that. Or we could even just say, if L is with S, then M is not, right? If L is with T, then M is not. If M, S, then L not. And if M, T, then L is not. So yeah, here we have the contrapositive of that one, right? And here's the contrapositive of that one. So yeah, in terms of diagramming that first rule, like I said, I would probably just go with this. because it's fine. You know, I made it myself. It makes sense to me, even if it's not your like standard way of diagramming this rule. But essentially what I get out of that is, yeah, L and M are not together. And they could both be out. So we could probably even just leave it at L and M are never together. Okay. Okay. And then the next one is, I'm actually just going to fold this paper over because it's pretty messy. So if we take all of that information and just boil it down to L and M are never together, that works. Rule 3, if G is assigned to S, GS, then LT, L is not assigned to T, then G is not assigned to S. That could mean they're both out, right? But it could also mean that L is assigned to S and G is assigned to T. But just because L is assigned to S doesn't necessarily mean that G is assigned to T. G could be out. So anytime we have a negation here, we need to recognize that there are 2 other possibilities for every player, right? Because there are 3 total. Okay, and last rule. If K is not assigned to T, then H and M are assigned to T. Okay, so if H isn't assigned to T or M is not assigned to T, then K must be. Right, there's our contrapositive. Okay, so that's all our rules for the setup. So rule 1 is there and there. Rule 2, 3, and 4. I think rule 2, probably the one that's the hardest to diagram, as you can see from all of that, but ultimately we can simplify it quite a bit. So the more experience that you have with rules that are complex like that, the more you can just sort of create something that works for you, that you're going to understand, that makes sense to you, like I did here for myself, or even simplify it even further, and just understand that they're never going to be together, right? And that has a few different meanings. So I think what I would want for my students is that I would want you to be able to get to something like this really quickly and just understand that that means all of this, right? Understand what the implications of this is, without necessarily having to write it all out or see it all written out when you go to check on the rule. Okay, great.